This is Brand Rescue, a marketing and PR podcast for businesses who want the real deal, not trendy fluff or complicated funnels. From PR to paid ads, we share free advice that actually works because mediocre marketing is so last season. If you're ready, your marketing comeback starts right now. Hey, friends. This is going to be a different episode today. You know what? I usually kind of write down my thoughts before I just jump on the mic. But today I did not do that. This is actually going to just be me kind of telling you a story, and I hope that maybe for some of y'all out there, this will inspire you, or maybe this is something you're trying to do, and you want to hear how I figured it out. I'm still figuring it out. Let's just be honest. Nobody has it all figured out, right? So this is, if you've gone way back in the podcast, you've probably heard the whole story of, kind of like my career and how I got started in the hotel world and everything. But this is going to fast forward a little bit because this came up on my personal social media this week. Well, let me tell you something. I really don't share a whole lot on social media, which is funny because everyone's like, wait a minute, you're in PR. And I'm like, yeah, but number one, I don't really have a whole lot of time to do that. I don't know how people find time to just upload stories upon stories every single day, especially people who own businesses. Anyway, that's another topic, but I don't have a whole lot of time to do it, but I really kind of felt compelled to share. And what I shared was basically about how I knew in my heart I wanted to grow the agency outside of the area. I love Destin, Florida, where we started. And I wanted to, but I wanted to, there's like something inside of me that was like, Whitney, there's more to it than this. No hate, no shade to Destin. But don't you want to do this like on a bigger scale? Destin doesn't even have a TV station. So doing PR there, especially on the media relations side, like you can only hit so much when you got one newspaper and no TV station. And so I just knew, I was like, man, I really want to work with hospitality brands all over the world. So, I kind of shared a little bit about how this happened and about how it was like, now we have clients literally all over the nation and world. And I can't tell you how many freaking people wrote back to me on that, to my story. And they were like, oh my God, I never knew that, Whitney. I never knew. How cool is that? Like, I didn't know y'all had clients all over. And I'm like, wow, we put it out on True Story social media all the time, but I really don't talk about it much on mine. A, because I'm busy, but also B, I have this thought of just like, what's the point of like bragging? Does that come off as just like, oh, look at us? But maybe it is look at us, like, and being proud of what we have accomplished as a team, because it's definitely not just all me. Good God, no, there's like no way. I could have done all of this without a team. So anyway, posting that to my story the other day made me realize like a lot of people don't realize this, And after that, I had so many people that said, how did you do that? How, like, they DM'd me and they were like even in more detail, because it's a story, right? I didn't like share the whole song and dance of how I did it. That'd be too much. But I was like, you know what? I should make a podcast out of this, because there were a lot of people that were like, I own, an insurance firm. How do I take it outside of my local area or whatever, like people outside of PR and marketing were even asking too. So then I sat down and I was like, really though, what was the triggering factor that took us from local to international? And I had to think about it, but there's a few things, okay? Number one, I think one of the biggest things was that we niche down. And we really said, who do we love working with? And let's become an agency that focuses on that. Now, a lot of PR agencies used to niche down because you had all of your media contacts in that one realm, right? But now that's so different. Number one, we have software that can get us to anyone at any time, any media person I can get in touch with, period. Now they may not be my best friend, I may not have a super strong relationship with them, but I am able to reach out to them, and if I have a really cool story, they're still probably going to be interested and wanna run it, right? So to me, that's not that big of a deal. Also, because like a lot of these journalists and as we know, everything with AI is changing so much that a lot of these editors and journalists, the highest paid people in a lot of these media companies, poof, lost their job overnight. Which I'm not going to say is wrong or right or whatever. But still, that's the reality of it. Is like it's getting to the point now where like a lot of your contacts don't have their job anymore. So people used to niche just for that factor because it was like once you became besties with all the, whatever niche food and beverage, journalists, then you had it made in the shade and those contacts were pure gold because you could make stuff happen and that was back when PR was much more focused just around media relations and now I think PR has really grown so significantly. So anyway, agencies used to niche down for that reason, but I niched down because that is the industry that we know best from all standpoints of PR. Not just media relations, but from partnerships, activations, how to run influencer campaigns, things that move the needle, how people choose those brands, how to get visibility on that specific type of brand. Like, if you plucked me out and stuck me in politics right now, I'd probably be useless. Even though I have a whole lot of experience in PR, I'd probably be a little useless in that realm because I don't have a lot of experience in what drives visibility for those types of for politicians, right? Don't ever try to hire me for that. Not my jam. So anyway, we niched down and we actually really put it out there. Like we are a PR agency. We are a modern PR agency for hospitality, travel, and tourism brands, And again, hospitality, travel, tourism can span a lot of things. People immediately think food and beverage, like, oh, you restaurants and hotels. And I'm like, yeah, there's so much more to travel than that. We had an aquarium. That's not really travel or hospitality, but it was in a tourism driven area. So it's an attraction, right? Which is a piece of travel and tourism. It's an attraction. Gosh, we had a magic show. That's another attraction, We still do have a sailing line. It you might call it a cruise line. We don't say the C word because these aren't cruises, but they're massive sailboats. So it's like a much more bougie luxury yacht style of cruising. How about that? But we don't use the C word. Anyway, so hospitality, travel, tourism is not so narrow, but we niche down and we really put it out there that we were niching down. And not that we were made the decision to, but we put it out that that's who we are and that's who we work with. And you're like, well, still, how does that get clients? That's a great question. So one thing that kind of started happening is that we had hotels and restaurant groups in that Destin, Pensacola, 30A area where we were local, and they would start contacting us because they needed local help. So they contacted us because we were local, but then when we were like, "Yo, we do this for hospitality brands all over the nation," like we can. They were like, oh, well, we also own a hotel in Richmond. We also own a hotel in Baton Rouge. We also own a hotel here, there, or a restaurant. So naturally, when they realized we focused on industry and we did a good job and they liked working with us, then they were like, cool, we're going to put you on our Houston project. We're going to put you on our, Costa Mesa project or whatever. Niching down didn't immediately bring in new clients, but what it did do is it converted the clients that we already had, that they were like, "Oh, I also own this," or "My buddy owns a restaurant group in Virginia Beach. Let me connect you with him." So they started recommending us and whatnot. So I think just putting it out there and letting it be known who you most serve will attract more of that. Now, I will say this, I was nervous to like put that on our website because I didn't want to scare off other companies and I was like, we're going to lose business because I don't know, like maybe some cool, brand outside of hospitality is going to see our website and then they're not going to fill out the contact form because they're going to think that we only do hospitality. And I had to let go of that, because it probably did scare off some people and that was a good thing. But for the people that were a good fit, they would see that, and then they were like, "Oh my gosh, w we need to work with them." And the first time I really saw it come to fruition, I had a hotel call us, and they were shopping in the local area of the hotel, and she said verbatim on the phone to me of like, "Yeah, I was, Googling around for agencies in that area, and I came on your website and boom, it says we specialize in hospitality, travel, and tourism." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is perfect. And you're the first person I called." She's like, "I didn't even look anymore. I literally just pulled up your number and called you." And I was like, boom. You gotta make it so clear to the right person when they come to your website that you do exactly what they're looking for, that she didn't even wanna talk to anybody else, and we didn't even bid against anybody else because we immediately vibed, and she caught on, like, as soon as we started talking and we were able to, like, speak in hotel lingo, then she was, like, immediately could tell, like, "Okay, this girl's worked in a hotel, she knows what she's talking about." We hit it off, and then they became a great client. And gosh, and now her and I still stay connected, and she oversees hotels all over the US, y'all. So you got to stop thinking about who it's going to turn away, and you got to start thinking about who is going to lay eyes on that and be like, "Oh my God, they're perfect." So limiting beliefs, okay? I have these limiting beliefs, and you guys probably do all the time. I'm more focused on what it's turning away rather than what it was bringing me, okay? I would say another thing that really helped propel us forward is I made a massive investment. I joined this business group in 2021 that was based out of Arizona. I had never joined anything like that. It was like a mastermind type thing with 25 different businesses from all over the US, not all agencies. There were a handful in there, but it was a mixture of everything, okay? Um and it was the most money I've ever spent on myself at that point ever. Besides, nope, I hadn't bought a house maybe. Anyway, it was a lot of money, okay? It like we're talking about like the amount of money that I would pay someone almost pay someone an annual salary. And I don't know what got into me, but I said yes and I put it on my credit card and I flew out to Arizona for the first time in 2021. And it pushed me so far out of my comfort zone being in that room with people. It also made me feel like the smallest person in the room in a lot of ways, which is perfect. Like, here on out, ever since then, I'm like, "Yeah, heck yeah, I wanna be the dumbest person in the room. I wanna be the person who's the smallest guy in the room, and that means I'm about to soak up so much knowledge from all these other people." And you know what that really did? I didn't get a lot. I'm trying to think. I don't think I got any clients out of that whole experience, but what it did do was it opened my eyes to what is possible, and I stopped thinking so small. It got me out of small town USA, and it also physically and mentally, it also got me out of that small town mindset of people are only gonna pay me this much. That's Destin, Florida. It's small town USA, and it's a really seasonal town where they can't pay certain prices because they only make money X months of the year, and the rest of the time it's a ghost town, you know what I mean? So I was stuck in a small town mindset because I was in a small town. And it really opened my eyes to like what is possible. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's not good to compare yourself to other people." It's not, but you know what it is good for is like seeing someone else who is just as normal as you are. They're just figuring it out like you are. They're not any smarter than you. You know, so many people in that group are just normal people like me. Everybody in that group is just a normal person like me who was figuring it out. And some of them had been doing it a lot longer than I had. And some of them were in completely different sectors, but it gave me ideas and inspiration. And still to this day, so many of those people are like ride or die besties for me. So that investment changed everything, not so much about the business and the clients, it changed me. and it changed my mindset. And I used to roll my eyes when people would say stuff like this because I was like, oh, yeah, let's just manifest $1 million and then we're all millionaires. And I would roll my eyes so hard, but I'm telling y'all right now, your mindset is what is probably holding you back. Your mindset. I had a scarcity, hold on to every penny I have mindset because I was afraid that I had run out of opportunities for clients in Destin. You know, once you have the big shopping mall and the big hotels and the big aquarium and you've checked all those boxes, there's nobody else in that town that can pay you those types of prices. I had a scarcity mindset, and that group fixed that. Maybe not fully fixed it. It's always going to be something we all battle with, but I had a scarcity mindset, and that was what was holding us back. Isn't it so funny that half of the time, like even look at the last points I told y'all about us niching down and my mindset was scared of putting that on our website for turning me away. My mindset told me I didn't have enough money to join that group. My mindset told me that those people were further along than me. Everything that was holding me back was literally in between my ears, and it was no one else, you know? So making that massive investment changed everything. And you know what? I will say this. When you make an investment like that, you bet you are going to freaking show up. I showed up to every meeting, every call. I followed up on everything they told us to do. I came to every retreat that they had planned for us and attended every session because I had paid a lot of freaking money to be there. Somebody told me, like, you know, when you pay attention. Well, heck yeah. I had paid so much money that I forced myself to dive into that and squeeze every ounce of juice out of it. And I'm so grateful I did. And now when I make these big investments, I do the things like that. I've done more of those things like that since then. You start to get excited about it because you're like, ooh, I'm about to like push myself out of my comfort zone. Here we go. You know, no risk, no reward. Y'all, and somebody, I guarantee half the people listening to this right now, I don't have the money to do that. You got a credit card? How much do you believe in yourself? Do you have a freaking credit card? I know somebody that put $50K on a credit card because she was like, I'm going to do this. And even if I spend the $50K, I go in this direction, and maybe somewhere along the way I decide to pivot, still the $50K is getting me in the right direction. What is it? The old, like, if you shoot for the moon, at least you know you're going to land among the stars. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Heck yeah. Talk about the balls on her to put $50,000 on a credit card. And she also has children, a mortgage, all that kind of stuff. So like, and you know what? She succeeded. She's crushing it. So it's like, maybe we all need to get excited about pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. So yeah, I think it's the biggest takeaway for me, y'all, is fixing my mindset first. I became so aware of the scarcity mindset, and I still catch myself doing it now. You know, that was 2021 and this is 5 years later, but awareness is half the battle. Okay. So maybe it's something that you need to think about in your mindset. These limiting beliefs, we don't realize we have them half the time. And I catch myself now. And because I would like to think I'm a little more self-aware now than I am 5 years ago. You know, I'm a little more self-aware now, and I catch these limiting beliefs. At least now I can recognize it when I'm having them, but you still got to push through them, you know? So whatever is scaring you the most is probably the thing that's actually going to give you whatever you want, you know? So I encourage y'all, if there's something that you feel like you can't achieve, I promise it's probably between your ears. It's all there. There is a way. Let it be known that that's what you want, and just take some kind of step in that direction, some kind of step that terrifies the crap out of you. And if you miss the moon, you're going to land among the stars, right? So anyway, that's the full story that I don't want to put on my Instagram stories because it's a little long. So I hope that maybe that inspired somebody out there. Maybe you needed to hear that, or maybe you're holding yourself back. I still do it to myself. I still catch myself holding myself back. And now I tell myself it's not just me that I'm holding back. I'm holding back a whole team of women that are trying, we're all trying to move forward. And if I'm going to be the freaking leader, I got to get out of our way. I got to get out of our way so that we can move forward. So love y'all so much. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for your support. It really means a lot. We're all just figuring this out and the work is not done, part of the fun is the journey, right? Uh, if we all got to the destination immediately, then like what fun would all of this be? So I hope y'all have a great week. Thank you for always tuning in. Would love to hear if you have any thoughts or feedback based on this. Give me a shout. I love it when y'all DM me and I hear your stories. I can totally relate. So hit me up on Instagram. It's the Whitney Lee, or you can also listen in or reach out on LinkedIn. Lord, I need more coffee. Y'all have a great week. See you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Brand Rescue. For more practical marketing and PR support, head to yourmarketingheroes.com.